Angelina Jolie is in talks to join the MCU. Who might she be playing? We'll discuss on today's show. Plus, Endgame puts out so many posters and they're giving us too many feels and the true fate of one character. Let's talk about who today on Marvel Movie News.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Marvel Movie News.
Oh, good afternoon to you, our merry Marvelites. It's time for Marvel Movie News. We are coming to you live from a pile of dusty tears. Oh. Those posters gave us all the feels, you guys.
No, I didn't. I actually tried not to look at them, but they kept showing up in my timeline.
They're hard to avoid.
I
There's
know.
so
I was like, I don't want to see.
There's so many, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Angelina Jolie. We're talking about some stuff with the new Mutants updates, some Runaways updates, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Iron Man video games. There's a bunch of cool stories this week, and we're going to dive into it. But first, let's talk about who's in the room with us. I'm Zach Wilson. Right next to me is Xia Anderson.
Oh, hi.
Over there on the other side of the table is Christian Bladt.
Hi, everybody, and for those watching on YouTube, yes, I have a New York Mets shirt on, but it's Noah Syndergaard. His nickname is Thor. It applies.
Nice.
And I won today.
We're both hitting those Mets vibes.
Yes, exactly.
It's opening day, guys.
Day. Yeah.
Not the big opening day. That's next month. And joining us this week in the studio, I'm glad to welcome April Dawn.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
April, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so excited to talk about all this news.
Oh, last week we were like, there's not a ton of stuff. All right, let's just do questions and fun stuff.
This week.
And then it was like, oh, stories.
So was it right after the show ended that all of these stories dropped?
No, actually, this was fairly
Amazing.
well spread out. Our main story sort of dropped yesterday. We're going to talk about Angelina Jolie,
Right.
Angelina Jolie rumors. To be clear, rumors. I also want to make sure we give some shout outs before we dive into that story to Marissa, our Kree overlord in the booth.
Hello, everyone.
And we've got Colt Badeau helping us out on the tweets from the Starjammer. Thank you, Colt Badeau. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff. We're on Twitter at Marvel News PTN or at the Popcorn Talk. All right, let's talk about Angelina Jolie. So the news story, for those of you who may not be aware, broke yesterday. Sometime, I believe Hollywood Reporter was the first to post the story that Angelina Jolie is in talks to join. At first, they were just saying an unnamed Marvel project, and then it's hard to say if the original rumor was that it was the Eternals or that was just the wild speculation that everyone jumped down. So now it's pretty much the consensus that Angelina Jolie is in talks to join the Eternals coming out or starting to shoot later this year. What do you guys think? Are you excited to see Angelina Jolie join?
Well, when I first saw the news, because I was editing all day yesterday, so I didn't see it till this morning. I saw it, and I at first was just, I can't see Angelina Jolie as a Marvel character. At first, I was like, but thinking about it more, and after who you said she possibly would be playing, it does make sense. And it makes sense that they want to get maybe some star power behind the movie, because it's some that's, less well known for people that only know about the movies and haven't read the comics. So it does make sense, and I can see it. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm always hopefully optimistic going into it, but I'm still a little bit like, oh, okay.
On paper, it makes a lot of sense to me just because she's partnered with Disney multiple times. Maleficent, the sequel, the one and only Ivan. And I think it's going to be a good role for her. I'm not too familiar with the comics, but it makes sense why she'll be playing in the film.
First of all, I think she's great. I don't see everything that she's in, so that's probably why I think she's great, because there's a few that I've missed. But I think she's going to add a presence on the screen. Yes, she's going to get butts in the seats because it's like, hey, it's Angelina Jolie's in it. And she's only made 4 bad movies, so let me see if this is not one of those. But I think it's very exciting, and to the point of the Eternals, even people who read comic books, I've read Marvel comics for almost 40 years, and I know the Eternals really from just one miniseries in 1985. So I've read stories with this character she's supposed to be, and I'm still like, yeah, I need convincing that I need to see this movie.
Just because we talked before the show and like we all keep referencing it, but we haven't
Right.
said the name. So the theory and like the character that I sort of jumped to when I heard that she was going to be joining the Eternals, and we could throw out this picture, is Cersei of the Eternals. Cersei is one of the like main characters, especially in Neil Gaiman's run. Which I've said before, I think is going to be the basis for this movie because it's a good jumping on point. But it's still in the middle. It's not a pure origin story. But so part of why it's a good jumping on is Cersei has her mind erased. Like her memory is erased. And like in the book, like the character used to be an Avenger, and so Tony Stark knows her, but she doesn't remember any of that. And not that they're going to do that part of the storyline, but a character who doesn't remember what happened is the perfect place to start a movie because especially with characters that no one is familiar with. And like, yes, there are plenty of you Marvel nerds who have read the Eternals over the years, but 99% of even comic book readers are like, the Eternals? Like, I had to go read I hadn't read an Eternals run before. But when I did, it's a great run, and I highly recommend it. It's on Marvel Unlimited. So you can just go, if you're subscribed, you can go pick it up there. But Cersei, if she's going to be one of the leads, seems a great option for Angelina Jolie role. And these are immortal characters, so age is completely like irrelevant to whichever. They could spread them out entirely between like all the characters are thousands and thousands of years old, so like it doesn't matter. She could be playing opposite a 20-year-old actor, and it
would be fine.
It would be completely fitting.
And Angelina Jolie definitely has a regalness about her that you can just see, like she's as playing a very wisdomous character. Is that a word? I don't even know.
Wise. I believe wise is the word that you're...
Smart.
SMRT. Yeah, so I'm just going to keep using that word. A very wisdomous character. And so I can very much see her embodying that perfectly. So I can see that working well. That would be very cool to see. This is going to be a fun story. I'm going to have to go back and read some stuff before I watch it. We've got time.
What I'm really excited about is the fact that the Eternals, because the Celestials created them, and we got a hint of that with Ego the Living Planet and Guardians too, and I'm excited to explore that in more depth.
Yeah.
It
should be cool. The thing that if Angelina Jolie joins this project, or even if she doesn't, but that we know that they were looking at her for this, what it says to me is Disney is really committed to making this a big movie. Like they're gonna make this a good one, because this is sort of like how they approached Guardians. If you remember,
yes,
because I know it's hard to remember those times, but when that movie came out, no one knew who the hell the Guardians of the Galaxy were. It was a little-known franchise that Marvel had rebooted in the comics to be the lineup that we're super familiar with now, like a couple years before the movie came out, just to like make sure some people were aware that it was happening. But no one knew who Star-Lord was. He was a background character. Exactly. Like, again, longtime readers knew the characters, but no one, even in the more, even people who read regular comics, knew that we're familiar with them. But so with the Eternals is going to work, they're going to need a star-studded cast. So just like with Guardians, where you go out, you get Chris Pratt, you get Zoe Saldana, you get Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel to voice to voice characters.
Yeah.
You get Dave Bautista to pull in the wrestling crowd.
And I mean, also he's just perfect for that role.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
no.
so perfect.
All of those people were perfect in the parts that they played. That's why that movie worked so well. But that's what you have to now do.
Right.
But they also all carried an audience with them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's part of why that movie was successful.
I just wanted to throw in from the chat. Jenna James says, looking forward to seeing Jolie in Eternals as potentially Cersei, Elysius, or Thena. So she's going for 3 possible roles. And then Lady Jennifer Snow says, ugh, Angelina Jolie.
Oh, wow.
And BlackRock 316, she's a good actress. But what was her last good movie? You know what? Maybe even if it's been a while, maybe this is her next great movie. So look at it that way, BlackRock 316.
She took a break for a while. She was focusing on directing, so I'm giving her a pass.
She was. I think that her working with Marvel has also been in the cards for a while, because if you remember, there were talks that they had approached Angelina Jolie to direct Captain Marvel a few years ago. So her and Marvel definitely have a conversational relationship at the very least. So this seems very plausible that this could actually happen. Because reminder, this is all a rumor.
Yeah.
We're talking about it like it's fact, and it turns out she's not going to be in it at all. It's going to be someone completely different.
Well, she could not. Like, she could have been meeting with Marvel for any number of things. She could be talking to them about directing Captain Marvel 2, or like another project down the line, or she could just be coming in for a visit and like everyone misinterpreted things. Who knows?
The internet never does that.
No.
But I am excited to see like who else they start casting, because they haven't announced anything, and how they introduce the Eternals is going to be. I'm so curious because my thought was that they were going to backdoor pilot the Eternals with Guardians 3. In like whether it was a post-credit scene or a plot line where they get involved, because you've already established the Celestials in that franchise because of like Nowhere and the Infinity Stones and all that. It was the cleanest way to introduce characters created by the Celestials, which is a bonkers origin story anyway. But with Guardians 3 out, like it's going to be definitely after the Eternals, since the Eternals is already ready to shoot. Do they backdoor that scene into Endgame, or try to put it somewhere else, or just drop it from nowhere?
Look what you did.
Like, just because. So I'll be really interested to see what more we get to know as like after Endgame comes out, because that's when I imagine Feige is gonna have another one of those events like back in October. Whenever, do you guys remember that big event he did like at the El Capitan where he revealed the entire slate of Phase 3?
I don't remember.
No.
What?
Oh, I was at the theater. This was like
Zach.
So that was the year that Marvel just didn't. They went to Comic-Con, but they didn't announce anything, and everyone was like, "What's going on?" And then they held an event at the El Capitan where they like invited a bunch of people down. I was just there as a fan. I didn't have any press, but I was like, and then he walked down. He ran through all of the different movies that were going to be coming out, like revealed. Like Guardians 2 and like the Infinity War movies, and my favorite, like he introduced Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. Like that was the reveal was there in the theater. But the favorite moment from that day was because he revealed Captain America 3, and it was Captain America Serpent Society was what was on the screen, and then he finished the rest of the thing, and everyone's like, okay, that's cool, we'll see what that is, and he's like, I'm having some second thoughts, and then he like literally changed the screen to be, oh yeah, there's the photo.
I assumed you said that to her. I didn't.
No, that was totally
on
on plan.
Marissa.
Thank you, Marissa. If you look in the top left, you can see Captain America Serpent Society.
I'm glad that was changed.
I love Civil War, but we could do a Serpent Society.
It was literally there as a gag, because then by the end of the story, by later in the show, he's just like, I'm having second thoughts. Why don't we make that Civil War? And the place like erupted into like chaos.
Of course, the biggest gag on that screen was at the bottom right, where it had the logo for the Inhumans movie. Now that was a gag.
Oh yeah, that's how long ago that was. But yeah, so I imagine we're gonna get something like that, because all of these things are ready. Half of them we know about because of like casting and hiring rumors or just official news. But like he's gonna have to like reveal what those are, and he just doesn't want to do it until Endgame's out. I don't think he even wanted people to know Spider-Man was coming, but Sony was like, no,
we need to sell our movie. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, also like he doesn't have as much control over Sony.
Yeah.
They are technically it's still their own movie to market.
I mean, they made Venom, so that shows that they don't.
That was
really
a
have
thing.
control.
Wow, Christian, wow.
You know I liked it enough.
But, so, did you guys have any other thoughts on Angelina Jolie? Or Christian, does the chat have anything else they want to add?
They've kind of gone down the rabbit hole of the day you were talking about and kind of reflecting on it. But there are... Cersei seems to be the popular opinion, but Athena is a close second from everybody in the chat. And thanks to everybody. We have a lot of people chiming in right now.
Athena could be cool. I could also see them wanting, like, a young person to play Cersei if she's gonna be end up being the lead. Angelina Jolie draws the star power, but I could see her in a character that has a more advisory role, as opposed to like the lead who doesn't know what's going on. Because she does seem like Angelina Jolie carries herself in a way where she knows what's happening. So I actually might not buy her as somebody who doesn't understand things.
Which might is get just a no name for that.
It's just the way that she carries herself, which is a good thing. Like she's a powerful person. All right, let's move on to some Endgame news this week. Let's start off. This is a quick update on the runtime of Endgame.
Oh, yes.
We seemingly now know, thanks to a slip by AMC, what the runtime is going to be.
AMC.
And we've talked about it before, but now it's one more step towards official. 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Yes.
I'm going to interrupt everyone and just say not long enough. I want
Agreed.
more. I want more Endgame. Only 3 hours and 2 minutes. Why not 4?
Seriously, just have a little, give me a 15-minute intermission so I can get snacks and go to the bathroom.
Well, see,
and
here's the way to really look at it, is that when you get down to it, because like my only complaint about Infinity War was that it felt like it was half a movie at the end, because it doesn't like end, it just is like, oh, this chapter's done.
Right.
Like, you'll have to come back for the rest of the story. And that's the nature of making a 2-part movie. As much as they say they're standalone, it's not. It's the first half. So what you've really got is not a 3-hour movie. You've got a 5.5-hour movie. You've got one movie that is 5 hours and 31 minutes long.
what they should do is just have you can go into the theater early and watch
Infinity
War, and then just have it go right into Endgame.
I'm sure they will
I'm sure
do
they'll
that.
do that on the release day.
I'm sure many theaters are. They still have not. We're less than a month away, and this is. I feel like it's getting actually down to the wire now. They still haven't announced ticket sales.
I know. I've been waiting. I have my alerts turned on.
I'm pretty sure Captain Marvel and Black Panther were definitely available more than 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think I remember. I mean, yeah, Captain Marvel wasn't even that long ago. I remember for sure. Yeah.
I wonder if they're negotiating with theaters about runtime. Because this is so long. We've talked about this on the show before, just theaters are not going to be... Like, look, people are going to put their butts in the seats for this movie, but they're not going to be happy about having to do a 3-hour movie, because it's... like especially when you compare it to like a 2-hour movie or
Well, what we talked about last week or the week before, it's like, I don't know what the math is, but it's like 50% less showings you get per screen because you got to clean and then everybody comes in.
It's a significant dip.
But I feel like you can show it for longer because people are going to keep coming to it.
But the other side of it is that people are going to be less likely to just like go on a whim for a second viewing or a third viewing, because it's easier to take like a 2-hour chunk of your day. It's harder to take a 3-hour chunk of your day. It's just like more time. So like creatively, make the movie you want to make, Marvel. Like you've earned that right, and they're still gonna make $1 billion with this movie. But like I'm sure that like AMC and Cinemark and all those guys are like, oh god, 3 hours. All right. So we'll see what it's again. Also not official, but we're getting closer.
But if you believe Screen Rant. I just wanted, because somebody, Drew mentioned this in the chat. They say the tickets will go on sale April 2nd, which is next Tuesday. So it's a source. That's what they're saying. And if they're wrong, well, then just check on Tuesday the 2nd.
Write a
anyway.
lot of angry emails.
Just be ready.
It makes sense that it would be the 2nd and not the 1st, because they're like, we can't say it on the 1st or everyone will think it's a joke.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy it on April Fool's Day. They're going to be tickets to another showing of Thor: The Dark World.
Ooh. I'll go.
That's awesome. All right, let's talk about those posters that dropped.
Yeah, I almost didn't get here in time. I was getting them all framed, but I did make it just in time.
That's a lot of frames.
Hey, I'm dedicated.
The entire house.
We can bring up like the shot of like all of them, which is crazy intimidating to look at, but it's also really interesting because they did an exact split number wise. So if you guys haven't seen these yet, I look them up because they're all really cool, just like character posters. Half of them are in color, and it's all the characters that survived the snap, and half of them are in black and white. And those are the characters that die.
It looks like a video game where you have to like buy the expansion packs.
Or just like a really like weird like character selection screen. Anyway, so These posters, they're really cool. You could try to like pick them apart for like, what do they all mean?
What is Loki thinking?
But
He's
like
thinking undead.
the ones that really were important, Shuri is the big news out of this one, because she was a character we didn't know for sure her fate. And so she's the one that is now confirmed dusted.
See, I've thought that for like a long time because of that trailer where it's you can see in the background it says Shuri is missing. So this just confirmed it.
But they also had in the same trailer Scott Lang missing.
He was in the quantum realm though.
But
Yes,
they don't know that.
But the point is, like, missing does not equate dusted.
But you
This
still
is-
think that.
This is confirmation.
Okay.
This is like no ifs about it. Like Shuri's not like in hiding, because like that's the other thing. It's like Shuri may have like taken that moment to go into hiding, and so to the world she's missing, but she's operating as Black Panther in secret kind of thing.
That'd be cool.
All of those were possibilities, but not anymore.
I think it kind of makes sense just because she is so smart that I feel like she would be a huge help
She would be
in Endgame. So it's like it has to be a little harder for them now.
Yeah, I mean, if she sits down with Bruce and some of the other smarty pantses, yeah, it's pretty much on Bruce Banner to be the smartest guy, because I mean Tony can help him, but look what happened the last time they worked together. So.
And he's in
Space.
space somewhere.
Yeah.
He's in, yeah.
If only there was a
knows when this
character who
came
could
back.
get to where he is in space in like 8 seconds and go rescue him. I don't
If
know who that
only.
could possibly be. I'm just putting it out there.
The other confirmations that we got from this, as far as survivals go, Happy and Pepper
That makes me
both
happy.
survived. Again, both ones that we sort of figured. Happy, we had nothing going except the Spider-Man trailer, which also has Spider-Man in it.
Yeah, so.
But so Happy's safe, Pepper's safe. Valkyrie.
That was
who-
my big
Yes.
one.
We knew
awesome.
because just the Russo brothers had literally just told us that she survived, but now that we get a character poster, we can all get excited for what is gonna happen if Carol gets to fight alongside Valkyrie?
I want it. And
I'll die.
I want Valkyrie to also be drunk the whole time.
Yeah.
I just like I think they have to, because there was that moment in Captain Marvel where she's playing with the colors on her suit and she has the Valkyrie styling and like I don't think we talked about that, but that scene, I was like, you guys missed an opportunity because it was so dark that I was like squinting, trying to see. I think you're making a gag. Like, does she look like Captain America right now? But it was so dark, I couldn't see the colors. But the Valkyrie one was all white and gold, so it stood out. But I want to see them.
I want to
fight.
know where she was in the opening scene of Infinity War. Why she wasn't with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair question. Probably was just like, keep the scene closer. Also, if she had been in that, like, so part of that scene that was like, as like people have talked about it and the Russo brothers have talked about it, half of those Guardians that were on that ship survived. Like, it was halved. Like, I think they like must have shuttled them off somewhere. And Valkyrie was with those people, so maybe she was just guarding a different entrance. But if she had been in the room,
She would have defeated Thanos. No.
If she had been in the room with them, she would have either had to be sent away or die. Theoretically, she's an Asgardian like Thor. I don't know if there's enough of a difference between a royal Asgardian and whatever kind of Asgardian Valkyrie is.
A drunk.
A drunk
The point is,
Asgardian. You're
I
not
don't know
wrong.
if Valkyrie could have survived in space.
Yes, right.
Because there are 2 levels of Asgardians. Like, not everyone is as crazy strong as Thor, just by being an Asgardian. So I don't know where Valkyrie stands in that, but she had to be separated just so that she could survive that sequence and be with us for Infinity War.
Just a couple quick things from the chat. It's Just the Wind says, when Shuri shows up, that'll be huge applause in all the theaters. I feel that's the fake out poster. So it's Just the Wind saying, don't believe the hype. And Braden Schuler wants to know, does this make Wong the Sorcerer Supreme?
Oh yeah, that was the other one.
Yeah.
I forgot about Wong. Wong was
Yeah.
also confirmed to have survived by these posters. I think it does, because who's left?
Yeah. It was just him and Doctor Strange in there, right?
Well, there are other magic users across the planet,
Right,
And
but-
and technically, Sorcerer Supreme doesn't have to be from Earth.
Right.
Okay.
It's to the entire dimension, not to the planet. So there could be other sorcerers out
We
there
just don't
amongst the
know.
stars. But I think it does leave, especially in the Earth-centric universe that is Marvel.
Right.
I think it leaves Wong as Sorcerer Supreme, but with nothing really to guard because the
Infinity Stone is
Amulet's
gone.
Yeah. He's just like home security for the Sanctum Sanctorum. You know,
Yeah,
just make
I mean,
sure
there's
the kids
plenty.
don't lose
There's
it.
plenty of stuff in the Sanctum for
Yeah.
him to have to guard, even with the Eye of Agamotto off in Thanos'
Wait.
glove.
So even though Doctor Strange gets dusted, what about his cape? Is that still
He was
in
wearing
play?
it at the time.
His
but,
cape got so it seems that any clothing you were wearing
also
went with
gets
you.
dusted.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I figure, yeah, but for some reason, it seems weird.
I mean, he
He's not a
used
human.
whatever Thanos decided in that moment where he snapped.
Just gone.
He decided that your clothing goes with you.
Dang it. Could have been a lot of cool clothes around.
including powerful magical artifacts.
Or the Iron Spider suit. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff that could have been left behind, but he's just like, nope.
Y'all are going.
Yeah. So many toys.
Oh, this is a very niche, very specific question, but I feel like you're going to love it, Zach. Byron Broomhead said, Zach, what about the Asgardian professor from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
He was clearly one of the strong types. Like,
Yeah.
it's not to say that there aren't, like, people that are of the higher level of Asgardians that don't have that power or, like, have taken, like, roles that don't require fighting. But my understanding of the Asgardians is that there are tiers.
Well, and Thor is also the god of thunder.
That's what I mean. Like,
there's
there
that,
are
yeah.
god level Asgardians,
Right.
and then there are just like
Normal.
the people,
Right.
Who
The
I'm
common
sure
folk.
I'm sure are probably still stronger than an average human, but they're not a god,
Right.
which is a weird word to throw around in the Marvel universe.
It's a lowercase g. It's all right.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine.
So this next part of this next story is potential spoilers for Endgame. So we're not going to show any photos of it, so you can be warned about that. But Marissa, if you could give us
my
those
gosh.
spoiler lights, thank you. You guys have been warned. We'll turn the lights back to blue once it's safe. Mild toy spoilers ahead. Look, some people hate them. If it wasn't my role to bring this news to you, I probably avoid them too. But we got to talk about them. So, another toy reveal leak on the back of a Hulk toy that came out this week. It's one of it's like probably you just see the back of it. It's probably a like 12-inch figure or something. And what you see is the image that we've seen before, which is the Hulk in the white Avengers uniforms that we see in so prominently in the trailers. And it's still that like weirdly handsome looking Hulk that makes me uncomfortable. But that alone has its implications, especially when in conjunction with the text that's shared on it, which again, spoiler alert, Bruce Banner masters his temper to become the giant, super strong hero Hulk. That's all we get. That's not plot spoilers, except it seemed, one, the Hulk is coming back in some form, but the idea that Bruce has mastered his temper does seem to imply that we are going to get some version of an intelligent Hulk. Not just a talking Hulk like we got in Ragnarok, but a truly like a Banner Hulk combination where the
So-
scientist is still there.
Kind of like Beast.
I mean, a little bit.
A little,
in that,
just
like,
in the sense of when, he's still...
Yeah. But, like, it'll be interesting to see how they handle this. Like, is the Hulk... So the Hulk's intellect is at Banner levels. Is his strength mitigated because he hasn't gone full Rage Monster? Which is, like, the version of, like, the Gray Hulk. When he goes gray and he...
Joe Fixit Hulk, one of my favorite Hulks.
Joe Fixit
Yes.
Hulk, yeah. Is it going to be like Doc Green, where it's somehow based in Extremis or something like that? Which I don't really think this is right. That's right for the story, but it's just going to be interesting. How does Banner get here? Does he strike a deal with the Hulk? Is that something that you can do with the Hulk? But so I'm really interested to see, as a Hulk fan, I'm really interested to see how they handle this, because I have enjoyed how they've dealt with it, even with Talking Hulk, which I generally don't like. I thought they did a good job in like Ragnarok and Infinity War.
That's as much as I like Hulk talking, is the way he talked in Ragnarok. I don't like when he speaks like the Beast. I don't want him to be that smart.
It still has nuance to it in that like that was still an expression of an emotion inside of Banner in Ragnarok. That was still him like dealing with being an outcast just through the Hulk. So it still had that two sides of a person dynamic to it. It wasn't just like, well, Hulk is strong and he's a gladiator and he has conquered this planet. It was just like, this is an expression of a different side of Bruce that we don't usually get to see. So as long as that dynamic is still in play, I'll still enjoy the Hulk. I just don't like when the Hulk is like just like a meatheady guy who's like on the Avengers, like some cartoons have done. But that's a cartoon, so you can't go full emotional rage monster in an animated show for kids. Do you guys have any other thoughts on this Hulk?
I'm just going to summarize. The chat is throwing out all the different incarnations of Hulk. Don't forget Blue Hulk. So they're going through all the different Hulks that we've had. Obviously, we've talked about Red Hulk. So I don't have time to read them all.
That's a different guy.
Yeah. But a lot of Hulks there. And I like that people are throwing it in there.
I say Grey Hulk because that was Bruce.
That was Bruce.
It's a different iteration
and I
of
love
Bruce.
Joe Fixit Hulk. Possibly my favorite.
All right, so we can take down the spoiler lights.
It was,
That was intense.
really stressed out.
Back to normally just like stuff. All right, let's move on from Endgame and talk about Spider-Man: Homecoming, which also got some posters. Which like when I put it in the rundown, I was like, this is probably gonna end up being the lead story, and nothing's gonna happen. And then Angelina Jolie and Spider-Man. Really, it's just it's Spider-Man on tour in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Is he on the London Eye on that first one?
He's on the London Eye. He goes to the
is that the Trevi Fountain?
I think so.
Yeah. I'd love to go to Europe with Spider-Man.
And then hanging from a bridge in Venice, which we know from the trailers
Yes.
is a significant portion of his trip
Yes.
is in Venice. That's really all that we got from there. I'm sure people could dig out some Easter eggs and stuff in the background, but like there's just Spider-Man in Europe.
It's so much.
Spider-Manning. Sorry, go ahead.
It's so much less emotional than looking
Yeah.
at all those Endgames. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, 'cause
nice and fluffy. Like,
Look how happy Peter is.
Yeah.
No one's
he's
dead.
alive.
It's fine. Well,
it's
you know
also-
you're going to go into that movie and it's just going to be fun. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, that's what I was.
Oh.
That's what I was gonna say. Like it is gonna like you're not gonna be crying.
Yeah.
Well, you might. It's still Spider-Man, but you're not gonna be crying as much.
Yeah.
I still,
As in
every time I've seen
Endgame.
that preview, and I've seen that preview like 1,000 times now because every time you go to the movie they play it. The one where he's like bully of the kid is like, Spider-Man, I really like Spider-Man. He's got a dope suit and I really respect him. And Peter walks up and he goes, "What's up, dickwad?" And Peter just goes, and I still laugh at that every single time. So I'm like really excited to just go in.
I do love
and,
that iteration of Flash Thompson.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
glad we do get to see him in the next film.
And that is a perfect distillation of the dynamic between Flash and
Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah.
Is like, I love Spider-Man. You're being you're
Some dickwad.
POS. I almost swore and try to keep this podcast clean.
Is
That's right,
dickwad
for the
swearing?
kids. The kids can listen to this one.
That happened to me. I realized I was swearing a whole bunch, and then I was like, "Oh, there's
Language.
5-year-old children next to me. I gotta watch my mouth." And then I did it again because I can't control myself. But yeah, so this is granted not movie news, but like there is a cool video game coming out that I feel like if you guys haven't seen it yet, the trailer for it, go check it out. As we
if
can't
you're
play trailers on the show anymore.
PlayStation person. I'm just kidding.
I love
I'm just
PlayStation.
Not
totally joking.
Well, not just PlayStation, but for PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
There's going to be an Iron Man game coming out soon, and that's nuts.
I might get a PlayStation I'm an Xbox person just because, but I've been playing it for years. You're shaking your head at me. But I might get a PlayStation 4 just for this.
Let me know when the one for the Atari 2600 comes out, and then I'm all in.
Yeah, sure, Christian. We'll let you know.
I've been on the edge of buying a PlayStation VR for like 2 years now. I'm like, no, I can't justify it. But if you're
on.
gonna make an Iron Man game,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to make the jump. I'm somebody who because I wrote for a video game show like most of last year. I own all 3 systems. It just that you have to at a certain point when you have to make dumb fart jokes about video games for a living.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the game, they showed off in the trailer, like you see Tony and I believe it was Friday, and then his plane gets attacked and he jumps out of the plane, and so it's point of view Iron Man, and you hold up, you play with the joysticks, just like firing off blasts. It's so cool.
It does look really cool.
I am curious. They didn't really reveal if there's how much of story we're gonna get in this. And I hope that they put in a similar amount of effort to the story as they did in Spider-Man. Because that is one of the best games I've ever played, because it's very well written. The stories are really good. The mechanics are so much fun and pretty easy to pick up, and it feels like Spider-Man. Like the way you move and dodge and just do things, it feels like you're Spider-Man. And this, you're going to be able to shoot lasers.
How does that go?
You're going to shoot lasers out of your hands.
Like this.
If you're not watching on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube and you want to see me look like a fool, watch on YouTube. But I do hope that there is story and it's not just a shoot 'em up with a point of view, which will be cool, but not as fun as a 3-dimensional story where you take the origin of some of the characters and bend it and make it really interesting. Or I would love to see them put it in the same universe as the Spider-Man games. Like the Avengers Tower is in the New York and Spider-Man. There's no reason you can't have Iron Man in that universe. Do it, Sony. Although to be fair, that was a Sony game, and this is being produced by Disney, so who knows?
The same rules apply.
People are shouting out old gaming consoles in the chat now, mostly because probably I said Atari 2600.
Because you said it, yeah, exactly.
Commodore 64 and ColecoVision are the 2 that I have to give shout outs to. A lot of other good ones in there.
I am sure that chat is because video game nerds always seem to shout this for reasons put it on the Dreamcast.
Oh,
Someone mentioned Dreamcast.
Of course.
Video game nerds love the Dreamcast. All right. Let's move on.
Me too.
So, over on the non-Disney side of things, Morbius.
Ooh.
News this week.
I'm really excited about this one, guys.
We got a set photo of Matt Smith
That's
in
him.
Morbius, and I'm always down for some Matt Smith.
Always.
11.
I know.
Respect. But this tells us nothing.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like he's on the set and it's not from the movie.
No.
He just happens to be on set.
But he is apparently in costume.
I like the guy behind him in the poncho.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a wizard.
that could just be. I think
It's a key grip.
Yeah, probably.
I had a thought.
Yeah.
Maybe he's
please.
he's Simon Stroud. He's a rogue CIA agent that hunts Morbius.
Oh.
I
I
would
think
be
he's just
cool.
a grip.
Yeah, I like the first story, but I love that you
I think
are thinking
I assume you're talking about Smith.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant the guy in the hood. I'm like, she's guessing who that is? So that's who you think Matt Smith is playing.
I got really into it, guys.
Yeah.
No, I actually think that would be a great role.
I think that'd be fun.
For Smith.
Yeah.
As much as I think you have to put him in I think it'd be great if they made him a non-superpowered role, because that was one of the things that I thought Venom suffered with, is their antagonist also got spoilers for Venom. Their antagonist also became a symbiote and had powers and attacked, and it's just you don't need to do that. You'll have a stronger story if it's about a different power dynamic, not just I have powers and I have better powers, but you have to overcome it. No, it can be I have powers and I'm going to use the power of the law to step on you. And probably, if the real world is any indication, the power of law being abused for those purposes.
I haven't noticed, but if you say that that's happening, I'm going to have to take your word for it.
But yeah, so that's the story on that. We'll look forward to seeing more as Morbius keeps shooting and they start actually putting out stuff.
We expecting that in 2020? I think it's like a next year release, right? Not 2021. I mean,
I thought 2020, but
I think it's 2020.
Okay.
And Sony has a much quicker turnaround than Disney in terms of when they go from shooting to.
they also don't make as many movies.
they don't, right. And well, yeah. Is it weird that I'm more excited about this than the Eternals?
I mean,
Yes.
I mean, you can grasp the
Sorry.
concept here.
like everybody,
excited.
I'm not going to judge you, even if I disagree.
Everyone in chat is judging me right now. I know it.
No, if you're like, this is the beauty of Marvel is that like there's so many different kinds of movies that like as much as I'm like I have apprehensions about the way Sony is going about this. Like people liked Venom, people enjoyed it, and like I'm not going to step on you for enjoying the movie you liked.
You could also then have the opportunity to actually, I don't know if this would work, but bring Blade into it because I know that Blade and Morbius have also worked together. Like, there's just so many things you can do with it.
That's part of my frustration with the way Sony's doing it is because Blade is Disney. Blade is back with Disney, so
Oh,
you're
damn. See,
not
that's
going to
what I
get
didn't
them.
know.
You're
Wow.
not going to get the two of them in a movie together
Just kidding.
because Sony did it this way instead of like letting him be used by Disney in a Spider-Man or Blade movie. So you're not going to get it, unfortunately.
Well, then just kidding. I'm less excited now.
Never
Speaking
mind.
of things you're not getting, let's talk about New Mutants.
There have been...
So the news this week, the update on New Mutants, it comes from Maisie Williams, who has said that the reshoots that are supposed to be happening on New Mutants have not happened. New Mutants, the last rumor was that it was going to come out sometime in the fall on Hulu. And but if they haven't even done the reshoots, like it's starting to get to a point where people are wondering if the movie's ever going to see the light of day.
Right, if we're going to get anything from it. Which is unfortunate because I want to see this done in a horror movie way. Like, I think that that's going to be awesome. And I don't watch enough horror.
Yeah, April.
That's just-
How are you excited about the New Mutants? Like we've all talked about it to death on our feelings about this movie. What do you think?
I'm just so frustrated because I loved the first trailer and everybody else loved the horror elements of it, and that's why they were going to do the reshoots, and now it's just not happening. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm glad that Dark Phoenix is finally on the ground and moving, but not so much with New Mutants.
Yeah, I mean, I love those characters, the actual New Mutants characters, and there was the indication that it was going to be this great storyline, this Demon Bear storyline, and I loved that they were, like Zach was just talking about, that Marvel, and I know that this isn't Marvel directly, but Marvel characters, you get so many different kinds of movies, you know, and the idea that, like, well, now we're going to have a horror movie. I was really excited, and, you know, the fact that, I don't know, they feel like they haven't come close enough to getting it right, that we might not ever see it, or at least not see it for a while, is very disappointing.
Yeah,
Because it could have just been here in a few months, guys.
It was supposed to be out in, like, last February.
yeah, it's
Well,
been
yeah.
delayed a lot, and I imagine this, like, the hold of reshoots probably came as they knew they were approaching the sale to Disney.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, why would we go into expensive reshoots knowing that a different parent company who can't do anything, who can't say anything right now for legal reasons, because until last week, 2 weeks ago, Disney could not legally do any kind of development or discussions about Fox properties in any official capacity. So they couldn't influence the reshoots. Now Disney owns this movie. Now they can sort of go in and be like, okay, well, now that this is back, it's under Marvel head technically. It might still be put out, I imagine, like Dark Phoenix with the in association with Marvel tag, but it's still going to be up to ultimately Feige probably to say what he wants to do with this.
Yeah, and
property.
how expensive are the reshoots that they were planning to do versus what they realistically think it's going to make? You know, it's like we're going to lose that much more money to make a bad movie not that much better.
And will it? And if you're going to go the route of putting it on Hulu, it's not. Is it a moneymaker at all? Like
Right.
if that's a subscription-based service, so you're giving fans what they want, but it's a subscription model screws with everything in terms of like how much does quality actually matter. And to be honest, the New Mutants on Hulu makes a lot of sense to me. It makes a really attractive time for people to subscribe to the service and get hooked on it, and it saves you from having any judgment on the movie in like box office numbers. because no one knows what numbers are on streaming services. No one releases those numbers. So we'll see if those reshoots happen or if there is a potential this movie just gets shelved.
It's strange to me to think it would go to Hulu when Disney has bought Fox and they're going to have Disney Plus soon. So I don't know if they'd want it to go to another streaming service.
Well, Disney now owns 60% of Hulu.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
It's basically their secondary brand, and with Disney Plus more of a family-friendly service, I think that New Mutants is going to be, even if it's PG-13, a horror movie is not going to be something they want on Disney Plus if all the rumors about how they're handling that is going to go. Like, Disney also owns the Alien franchise. Are they going to put that on Disney Plus? I don't think so. Based on like what I've heard, what the understanding is, what Disney Plus is trying to be, I don't think they're going to want horror movies on that platform. It's going to be really interesting to see how they handle what movies go where. Because do you put Deadpool on Disney Plus? It's a Marvel movie. And it's a very big movie, so it's going to draw in people who want to watch it. But it's a rated R movie, and you don't want to necessarily put it next to Snow White.
I will say this. I know people with kids who took their young children to see Deadpool.
That's horrifying.
No, I was at a showing with a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't bring one in front of me, and the kid was there the whole time.
Yep.
And
Like
I was like, at no point, this is the first Deadpool, at no point did the parent go, hey, I think we need to go. So.
And that's horrifying.
Agreed.
Horrifying.
I saw
the way
Watchmen in theaters in between my parents when I was 12. It was
12's
horrible
a little
for all
different.
of us.
Yeah,
But that was a PG-13 movie. Ultimately.
Really?
No.
Watchmen?
No.
Wasn't it?
I mean, Dr. Manhattan's
Has, like-
blue nudity should not have been
Oh,
PG-13.
that's right.
I'm
See
still
everything.
horrified by that.
Look, that
too.
movie
on
was a
Netflix now.
while ago. I don't remember.
Thanks, Zia.
You're welcome.
But even
You'll
Watchmen-
revisit that feeling, April.
Even Watchmen, like, it was gritty and like a little bit violent at times, and yeah, sure, it showed a penis on the screen, but
A
like,
huge, gigantic
A blue one.
penis.
but like that's
Hey.
but that's not the violence is fun message that Deadpool has. That's the
That's
reason
true.
that I buck at kids
That's
going
fair.
to that movie, because there's a very key difference between Watchmen's message of violence is like a bad thing and corruptible and there are problems in our world, to Deadpool's like, let's stab people for fun, which is great,
And
but
make
not
jokes.
something that you should be showing to children.
I don't know.
Because-
I say you expose them early, you desensitize them, and then just
Case by case basis, in order to like who can they emotionally handle that distinction? Can they make that distinction between this is fun, this is a movie,
Right.
this is fake, and real life is not like that? Anyway, weird rabbit hole that we
Yeah,
just
that's
got
a deeper
down.
discussion to have.
But yeah, so we wait to see until like what Disney Plus looks like and where they might put New Mutants, which is how we got started there.
Sorry,
Let's
guys.
move on as we get towards the back of the show to Marvel TV time.
Oh.
Marvel movie news. We're talking TV
I couldn't air guitar today because I was pulling up something. So. Fun. This is just like cool update. Hulu, speaking of Hulu, has officially renewed Runaways for a third season.
Zia, how excited are you?
Yay.
Come on, we're gonna get more of that weird dinosaur with a nose ring running around
Yeah.
and like these.
There's a dinosaur with a nose ring.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
I am
yes.
Avery, you gotta
Say
watch
that.
Runaways.
You gotta watch
Now.
Old Lace.
Runaways is. I really like Runaways. I think it's a strong show. I think especially in the second season, it sort of came into its own. Like I think it had a slow start in season one, but then especially once they got out of the house and ran away, the show really took off. And season 3 will be coming to Hulu.
And the key to the announcement is that it'll be 10 episodes like season 1 was, and not 13 like season 2 was. So, Zia, that's 3 less you'll have to watch.
Yay.
But you will have to watch.
No, I watched season 2 only. I didn't even go watch season 1 because of how I felt about season 2. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go back in and do it. It's just, I don't know. It's just not, it's not for me.
Come on.
I don't
Zia.
care
watch
if
it?
anybody
I
likes
like it. I
but-
think it's really good. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
you two like it,
Yeah.
and you don't.
And I
my
also
fa- not
like
my favorite.
I also like Cloak and Dagger,
And I
which will be
also
back next Thursday.
don't like Cloak and Dagger. So this is where we this is where we differ on things.
Zia doesn't like the young people.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I'm 13 years older than Zia, and she thinks she's too old for both of those shows.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I also think you are Christian. I judge you. No, I'm just
I'm
kidding.
I'm way too I'm too old for all these shows.
Totally joking.
All right, let's real quick. I get to talk about Agents of Shield, you guys.
It's Zach's favorite.
Yeah. Well, it's like I used to have to just call into the show with Agents of Shield Minute, Doom's Agents of Shield Minute. Now I just get to talk as much as I want about Agents of Shield, and that means today I just get to talk about a press photo that got put out, which is a cool little image that they released. It's basically a Last Supper with our crew.
All right.
And there's some interesting stuff going on here. If you look at it, like we've got our team. We've got May with a drink because like some heavy stuff went down. Oh. Because spoilers for last season of Agents of Shield. Warning you guys, but this was months ago, and I believe it's aired internationally as well. And I'm warning you guys.
Yeah.
Coulson's dead.
Wait, what?
But for real this time, Agent May is drinking because she just lost Coulson, and they just finally fell in love. But then there's still Clark Gregg standing right next to her because he's still on the show. But if this is the Last Supper, he's also standing where Judas was standing in that painting. So this
look at who knows his New Testament.
A little bit Jewish.
I know that's why I said that.
I know my Da Vinci Code references.
Fair enough.
But so you've got whoever this character is that Clark Gregg is playing, which he has specifically said is not Agent Coulson. And I think that for once we can actually take them at their word on this. Why he's Agent Coulson, why he looks like Agent Coulson, we still don't know. Is he a Skrull? Is he a LMD? Is this some kind of like time travel thing where it's like an old or young version of him that like got zapped out? Who knows? Technically, there was a Skrull who transformed into him. Maybe that Skrull like zapped back and like now thinks he's Agent Coulson. Who knows?
Didn't he die in the car accident in Captain Marvel?
That on screen. Technically,
he's the one that they did the autopsy on.
I know, so we don't know what S.H.I.E.L.D. did with it.
That's true. We can never trust S.H.I.E.L.D. I absolutely agree with that.
What if that guy already had Coulson's DNA written into him? What if they revived the Skrull, and then when they were doing the Tahiti Project thing, they copied Coulson's brain and put it into the Skrull, and now he's running around thinking he's Coulson?
I think you just wrote season 8 for them.
I will never stop with my insane theories. Then you've got Mac at the head, since Mac is now director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Yo-Yo right next to him. I think that was Peter's position. Like, it's gonna be his. I mean, they're well in love, but also like she's gonna be probably his biggest advisor at this point. You got Daisy, you got Fitz, you got Simmons, you got Deke. Deke. And I don't know what they're all looking at. I think he's looking at Daisy's hand because he's shipping Deke as hard as I am.
And I mean that's a craps table, right? I mean that's my take on what that is. I mean if you look at it and the way that they're all standing around it,
and Daisy's reaching across the entire craps table.
Yeah.
It's either that or it's a mini football stadium.
I see what you're saying. Like it looks like it's like
if you look at the
it's an opening,
the surface
with an internal.
For it. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean it's some kind of alien tech. I think we're going back to space because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which can't. So at least at the very least, the first episode must not have any Endgame spoilers in it because they're going to show it this weekend at WonderCon. I can't be there for that, sadly.
That's so unlike you to not be there.
I have a writing class.
School education is not as important.
I have work to do. I'm going to be at WonderCon for a little bit on Saturday, later in the day. If anyone's around, try to come find me because I'll probably just be on the floor the entire time. But I'm gonna miss the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. panel where they're gonna show the first episode of the season.
Oh my god!
So that's similarly to Infinity War season. I think this is why we're going to space because it lets you just like ignore whatever the movies are doing, but still pretend it's in the same universe, even while Perlmutter and Feige raise fisticuffs at each other from across the distance of the Walt Disney lot. Did you guys have any other thoughts on this picture? Well, Christian?
Christian.
You spent so much more time on it than I did when I saw it that I can't imagine what I could possibly add. I mean, my craps table observation was basically it, but it just has me more excited for the. I mean, I'm looking forward to the show, but it's helping me get ready for them being back in my life.
Here's the fun part of my crackpot theories. 90% of that I came up with right here.
Oh, that makes it even better.
But yeah, so let us know what you guys are thinking in terms of whether you like that. Let us know in the comments below or tweet it at us. All of those ways that you can let us know. I'm gonna throw out. Let's see if we have any good Doom question corners. Did you guys have anything else that you really stood out to you from this week? This Marvel news. As I stall.
Well, let me get something from the chat. Anthony Manzano really wants our take on this. With the news that the MCU might reboot Gambit and they might replace Channing Tatum, who do you guys want to play him? You know, this is just hypothetical what we all think. Simon Kinberg officially said that Gambit, like all of the things that were in development at Fox, are all being reviewed by Disney after the merger. So he hopes that it'll still happen, but there's no certainty that the Channing Tatum will or won't happen.
So down the line on when because we're going to have to do some kind of X-Men reboot to get Gambit in there, unless they're going to make him an Inhuman or something crazy.
Wow.
Well, you can't introduce him before the X-Men.
Yeah, true.
Unless you're going to do something to his origin like that. If you're going to retrofit, you could retrofit the twins to be mutants. Like, there's actually nothing that, we don't ever say that they're Inhumans in the MCU officially. They're just aberrations caused by the cube. So you could also that could be the twist at the end of Endgame is Snap and mutants are a thing. Or unsnap and mutants are a thing. Whatever we do to break things could create mutants. And it's rooted in the Infinity Stones, which is the same way that the twins got their powers, is from the scepter. So that would all add up if you're going to go that direction. This I'm actually going to be able to answer a question from Baza, who sent a question to Doom's Question Corner, as we have to wrap up, and then we'll have So Baza asked us to find a role for Rami Malek in the MCU, and that because he has a lot of range, I think he could be a really interesting Gambit. Real quick, go around the table if you guys have any other thoughts for Gambit, and then we're gonna have to wrap up.
I don't know. I'm so bad with these questions. I need to do research. Actors never pop in off the top of my head.
What do you think of my
ever.
answer, David Tennant?
Oh, heck yes.
See, I thought
He's
you'd like
already
it.
Kilgrave.
It's fine.
It's
TV.
It's
Doesn't
TV.
matter.
It
Doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter. It's not the
Yeah.
same thing. Or Matt Smith. Great.
Okay, what about Peter Capaldi?
Boom.
He's a little old, right?
A little old.
April,
Any Gambit thoughts?
No.
Would you just
Rami
avoid the
Malek.
movie if it came out?
I'd see it no matter what, but I don't have anyone for Gambit.
Rami Malek for Moon Knight from Gamer Girl in the chat. I
have heard that before.
Oh, yeah,
that
we
would
did-
be
we
that
did
would be
that,
really
yeah.
cool. All right. Unfortunately, we're out of time, guys. But thank you so much for joining us this week on the show. April, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
If people would like to find you on the internet after the show, where can they do that?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April13Dawn.
Christian?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ, and you can find Xia and myself Sunday nights at 9 Pacific over on AfterBuzz TV for Marvel TV Weekly. I have no idea what we're going to talk about this week, but find us there Sunday at 9.
We'll talk about other random comic things that
Probably.
we just pick and dissect. I'm Xia Anderson. You can find me on the Twitter and the Instagram at Xia_land. It's XIA_land. Also, Facebook. Go like that thing too. It's Xia Landerson.
Really sold the Facebook.
Do the thing.
I'm going
Do
right
the
now.
thing, push the button.
Push that thumb up button. Hey guys, I'm Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson. You can also check out my other podcast, Ships in the Night, on basically any platform. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, all those places. Ships in the Night is a show where we take random characters from different universes and ship them together and write the love story. This week we did What if it wasn't Freddy versus Jason, but was Freddy and Jason?
I love that
It's
so
a
much.
beautiful 80s love story and
amazing.
some other horror stuff throughout the rest of the episode. It's so insane. I mean,
Killer
I'm so
romance.
check that out check that out. Ships in the Night on iTunes or at Shipping Pod. I'm Zach Wilson. This has been the Marvel Movie News. Thanks for geeking out with us.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.